Hey guys, Border here and welcome back to another video.
Some people think the Great Axe is a brain-dead weapon, an unskillful, amateur-hour face-roll option of weaponry. You wanna know what I think? I see a Great Axe. A full-size 4x4 Jeep Wrangler Transforma Giga Chad Alpha Male. We're not just spinning to win, we're out here mowing the grass of the battlefield, chopping down every peasant in sight, and weed whacking like we're getting paid for it. So the next time you pick up a Great Axe, just know you're not just choosing a weapon. You're choosing a goddamn lifestyle. Welcome to the Great Axe Club. Welcome to Scripted Gaming.
Hey guys, Border here and welcome back to another video. This is episode 4 of the journey to 700 Spec. In case you're late joining in on this journey, we started a brand new series where we'll be leveling not one, but all 7 axes to 100 Spec. So, to get you guys all caught up, on episode 1 we leveled the battle axe all the way up to 100, followed by episode 2 with the halberd, leading into episode 3, the carrying collar, and then that leads us to today, episode 4, the bear paws, all the way up to spec 100, so I'll be linking episode 1, 2, and 3 in the video description below to get you guys all caught up. And since we'll be using the bear paws today, I thought it'd only be right for today's giveaway to be a pair of 8.1 bear paws. So if you want to sign up for a chance to win this prize, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your in-game name in the comments below. And I'll be picking a winner in the Great Axe Club community Discord 1 week from now. But with that brief introduction out of the way, it's time for episode 4 of the journey to 700 Spec. I hope you enjoy. Alrighty, to get ourselves started, we will be farming in the red zones today, but before we head out, let's take a real quick look at our build. So using the bear paws, the Q I'll be using is Rending Rage to maximize DPS, but if you don't have it unlocked yet, that's completely fine, you can just use Rending Spin instead, which is still great for AoEing down those big group of mobs. Moving on to our W, we'll be using Adrenaline Boost for that increased damage, movement speed, and attack speed, but in the event there's gankers in the red zone, which there very well might be, we may be switching over to Battle Rush just for that increased mobility to play it safe, so we'll see what it looks like when we get out there in terms of gankers. And that will be paired with the first passive. Moving on to our helmet, we will be using the Scholar Cowl for Energy Shield for that high amount of sustain, keeping our energy levels nice and high, and that will be paired with the first passive. But again, in the event there are gankers in the area, I'm going to keep a Hunter Hood in my pocket just in case for Retaliate, maybe land that big counter gank with a big Reflect, and that will also be paired with the first passive. Moving on to our chest, we will be using the Assassin Jacket for ambush. I want to keep this build pretty elusive in case there are gankers where the red zones are, so we'll be using ambush for that reason alone, and we'll be using, again, the first passive. Moving on to our boots, we're going to be using Soldier Boots for Wanderlust, again, in case we need to make a quick break for it, so we'll be using that along with the second passive. Moving on to our cape, we're just going to be using a 4.1 Adept's Cape, nothing crazy. This is still a pretty low tier build, so we're not going to be using anything like an Undead Cape or anything like that. So 4.1 cape, that's all you really need. Moving on to our potions, we're going to be using invisibility potions. Again, if there are gankers in the red zone, we might need to make a quick break for it, so invisibility potions, good option for that. And last but not least, we will be using the cabbage soup. Just outside of combat, we're going to be getting that nice health regen to keep our health nice and high. So the current cost of this build with this tier gear is currently 233k silver, which is fairly high, but I mean, when you look at it, you take the bear paws off, and the build is worth 77k silver. So using the bear paws, it was always bound to be a little bit expensive, but at least with the gear and build that we chose, we do have a fair amount of escapes, so hopefully we don't lose this build at all, but we'll see what happens. And one last thing, we will be earning a bonus fame by a few different ways this episode. Method number 1 is through the Knight's Vow buff. This will increase our combat fame gained by 2%. And if you're wondering where you can get this, this can be obtained through the Conqueror's Challenge, as you can see here. Method number 2 is through auto respec, so when we have this on, this will earn us more combat fame credits at the cost of silver, but do remember this does cost a fair amount of silver, so only do so if you have enough silver to spare. And method number 3 is through faction flagging. So the reason we're going to do this is because when we're out in the red zone, we can earn faction points from doing activities. And once we earn enough faction points, we can come back to this faction enlistment NPC and we can purchase these campaign chests. These chests have books of fame that we can then use to spec up our gear even further. But with that all out of the way, let's head into the red zones. What's up guys, Border here. We have made it safe and sound to our first red zone. And we have spotted a small treasure chest spawning in about 20 seconds. So we're going to make our way over and see what that's all about. Looks like the chest is just opening up now and no one is actually here to claim it. So we're going to see if we can actually scoop this up very quick. There we go, 685k silver worth of loot. Tier 8 quarterstaff. That's one way to start the red zone. Alright, let's get out of here. Now usually I wouldn't leave so soon just after getting to the red zone itself, but I don't really want to be running around with 700k silver in my bags, so what we're going to do, we're going to head back to Bridgewatch, deposit our loot, and then we're going to come back out and do some more red zones. Alright, we have teleported back to Bridgewatch safe and sound, and just like the first 3 episodes, we're going to keep a separate bank tab just to see how much silver we actually earn on this venture. So let's go ahead and deposit all the loot that we just received. And then after that's done, we're just going to run straight back out into the open world and do some more red zones. Alright guys, we are back out into the open world, into the red zone specifically, and looking right now, we may just get into killing open world mobs and see how much fame and faction points they get, so that we can then purchase more books of fame from the faction enlistment NPC. Even regular mobs are giving a decent amount of fame in this zone, and then faction points on top of this from this empowered mob should be pretty high. So we'll take this guy down and then see just how much fame and faction points he gives. A couple more hits here. Yeah, so 90 faction points, 15k fame. Pretty good honestly, so I think we might just roll around, look for some empowered mobs, and see how that goes. Another decent pack of mobs here. Nothing empowered, but you know what, we're gonna see if it's worth taking down. So we'll see if we can stack them up here pretty nicely. Hoping not to take too much damage. Not too bad. You know, decent amount of fame. We'll keep doing that. Looking to do a chain pull like we're playing Call of Duty Zombies real quick. Oh, we got quite a few. Oh, lost one. My bad. Still pretty good amounts of fame, faction points. See how much we get from this guy, slightly empowered. Decent amounts of both. Ooh, and a Swiftclaw Cub. Take that, a couple more silver to our pocket. Alright, we're pulling up on this solo dungeon entrance, and it is empowered, so we're just going to take a quick look to see if anyone's in there, or just to see how much stronger this dungeon is. So at first glance, we'll take a look at a mob here, and they are 16% stronger, tier 6. Might be worth it, so we'll see if anyone else comes in, and then we'll clear the dungeon. Alrighty, there is no one coming into the dungeon it seems, so we are going to go ahead and start clearing it out. Alright guys, we have a boss on our hands, Earthkeeper Greybeard. Looks like a decent sized chest behind him. I'm kind of interested to see just how much fame and faction points we'll earn from this guy, so let's take him down as quick as possible and see what we get. No crazy mechanics on this boss, honestly, just stay out of the big ground and pounds, and that's basically it. Here we go, we made quick work of this boss. Only 17 faction points and a decent amount of fame, but maybe the chest will be worth it. 85k silver, not bad at all. Ooh, tier 7 regular cape, you don't see that very often. Alright, entering a new zone here, High Bull Glen. I noticed that a lot of the other zones have very minimal mobs, so I'm just trying to find a low traffic zone that has a lot of open world mobs up right now. Oh, dearie me. Alright, made a little bit of a mistake there, but ambush from the assassin jacket into an invisibility potion into the dungeon, and we're safe. And it's time to head back out. Alrighty, so far so good when it comes to this new zone. When it comes to open world mobs, in the red zone at least, I noticed that the empowered mobs are definitely the ones you want to find. The other smaller mobs, they're okay. It's a steady source of fame, but the empowered mobs, for example, like this one, for example. Okay, so a good amount of fame is 75 faction points, so pretty good rewards overall. So if you can find the empowered ones throughout the map itself, then you're gonna be off to a good start. Another way you guys can earn bonus faction points when flagged out in the open world, if you have gathering leveled up to some extent. For me, it's going to be skinning. You can skin animals and earn bonus faction points. So for example, each tick of the skinning here is going to give me 12 extra points. So in my opinion, definitely worth it. Alrighty, looks like we have a pretty high level empowered mob here. So we're going to take him down real quick. No gankers nearby at the moment, so we're going to do this nice and quick. And hopefully get some good amount of fame and faction points. Here we go, couple more hits, went down nice and easy. Wow. 45k fame and 290 faction points I think I just saw. Pretty good, pretty good. Alrighty guys, we are sitting at 91% weight capacity until we hit encumbrance. So what we're going to do, we're going to teleport back to town. We also have like, yeah, 328k worth of loot. So we're going to go back to town, deposit that, and then we're going to head back out. Alright guys, we're back out in the red zone, and as you can see, there is a bandit event going on for faction warfare. So we have made our way out and finally caught up with the Bridgewatch blob. So what we're going to do is we're going to farm this out for as long as we can. I believe we currently have... yeah, so just under 10k faction points. We're going to farm out this event for as long as we can and get as many points as we can, and then we'll check back to see how much we earn. Alrighty, we have arrived in Runnels Sink, and it looks like Fort Sterling is actually closing in on us, so this should be interesting. Alrighty, so sadly our faction did get wiped there in the bandit event. But the event ends in about 11 minutes or so, so I figured I'd at least try to salvage the time and get some more faction points in the yellow zone. We do have a decent sized blob here, as you can see, so we'll see how far we can push it and get a bunch of faction points. Alright guys, looks like the bandit event is about to end here, and yeah, right now. Extra 7k faction points. Unfortunately we got pretty wiped in that event, so honestly, pretty sad. I feel like I've earned more than 100,000 at a time in certain events, but at least we got a few extra points. Alrighty, we are currently in Eldon Hill, right next to Martlock, and it looks like Martlock is getting ready to defend, so we're finally going to find that fight we were looking for. So we'll see who comes out on top. Someone trying to get away here. Oh, and another one. Alrighty guys, we have made it back to Bridgewatch after all that faction warfare, and at the beginning I believe I said we had 10k faction warfare points already, and now we have 29k, so about 20k earned, and this is what you spend it on. So you go into the faction enlistment NPC, go into our purchasable goods, and these iron campaign chests. These are what you want to purchase if you're going for fame. So we can click on that, we can purchase all the way up to 3, and then we can click buy. Those will end up in our bags, and we can click use all, and this is what we're looking for, these tomes of fame right here. So a tier 8 gives 200,000 fame. We have 2 of those, and the yellows, the tier 7s, give 100,000 each. So let's do the math real quick. So it looks like we have 500,000 fame from the books of the tier 7 tomes, and 400,000 from the tier 8. So altogether we have 900,000 fame that we gain from those books. And not to mention the 300k silver worth of loot. So overall, not bad. Another way to get these tomes of insight are through the campaign rewards. So as you can see here, we have earned 25k faction points, earning us another chest. And same as the other one, we will get these tomes of insight. After spending some more time in the red zones, farming open world mobs, dungeons, and faction warfare, we were successfully able to spec up the bear paws all the way up to 100, finishing it off with our combat fame credits. At the end of our venture, our bank tab had a handful of Tomes of Insight and just under 1.5 million silver worth of loot. With the bear paw spec all the way up to 100, that concludes episode 4 of the journey to 700 spec. But the journey doesn't end here, so be sure to tune in next time for the grand finale, where we level up the Realm Breaker all the way up to spec 100. Otherwise, that about does it for me. If you enjoyed today's video, I would love it if you gave it a like and considered subscribing to the channel. But until next time, stay safe, stay positive, and I'll see you in the Discord.